What is, what was, and what will be start here with the words, in the beginning there was...
Hello and welcome to the newest episode of Bearded Game Masters. As always, I'm your host Ron, and I'm joined today with Mike.
Hello, long time no see.
Yeah, right. A little bit of a break there, but we didn't forget. Just had some unforeseen issues come up.
Yeah, real life is still a problem.
Yeah, real life's still a problem, and unfortunately, we gotta pay the bills.
Yes.
So
make more bills.
And make more bills, of course, as always. So I guess let's kick this off with I guess some potentially depressing news.
Yep.
Actually, I think most of this is going to be depressing depending on how you look at it.
Yeah.
But the first part being is some news about Sega here. Basically, Sega's not doing so hot. They're not making the monies that they need.
No.
Their earnings are starting to slip, and basically it's forcing Sega to refocus on existing IPs, Yakuza, Sonic, Persona, for example, and hold back on developing new ones. God knows they probably can't afford to.
Right. Well, new
make
IPs
another
cost
game
money.
that doesn't do well.
New IPs cost money.
Oh, of course.
Either you develop it in-house, you got to pay for it. Sony's been struggling for a long time. I mean, the last time I remember them having a hit was Alien Isolation, and then they lost their license, their Alien license to Fox. Because now Disney owns Fox, so I don't know what the heck's going to go on anymore with that. But I mean, everyone's kind of getting hit right now, in a way. There's no one's really printing money in the game industry at the moment. At least I don't think. Everyone seems to be having problems right now. Although I'm surprised.
Some more than others.
I'm surprised definitely. Sega's having problems.
I mean, to be fair, name me the last outside of actually. I mean, all right. So Isolation did really well, but name me the last time they had a really big hit. I mean, the Persona. Persona 5 did pretty well.
I'll be honest. When it comes to Sega, I don't know. I don't know if they've ever made a game until I load up the game and see their logo pop up. To be honest,
okay,
because they always seem to fly under the radar to me. Mm-hmm. All right, they're not like the big one of the they're not. I mean, it's not the early '90s anymore. They're not one of the big guys anymore.
They.
Although I'm still surprised, after all this time, they're actually going to push out a Sonic movie.
Yeah. I mean,
that took me. So I mean, if that was, although you wouldn't have that kind of CGI in the 90s, but that's when you should have had it.
Yeah, but I mean, also I think since the ill-fated Mario Brothers movies, that movie
that shied everybody away for sure.
Yeah, probably. And God knows that trailer for the Sonic movie just
there's a meme about that now. I mean, they're mashing up all kinds of characters with Sonic's face. Although the fact that they're willing to go back and this late into production and redo his design so it's more like the game.
Anything that's other than what it is now?
Yeah. Well, they want to make it whenever you're dealing with
they could have made it a lot more like the original, like the actual, I guess, in the game to some extent.
Well, whenever you're dealing with something like this, you're not making the movie to win Oscars. You're making a movie to get money from the fans. So you have to appease the fans. And in this day of internet where everyone can talk to each other very quickly and critique, you have to be true to the canon, so to speak. And if you deviate from that, you're going to get slapped down hard. And we saw that because his design, although more realistic, did not look like Sonic.
Oh God, no, it looked awful.
Right. If the Sonic games never were made and this was a brand new kind of idea, they would have got away with it. Mm-hmm. All right. But we know what Sonic looks like.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And, you know, yeah,
in a way, I kind of feel like it was trying to ride the coattails of the Pokemon movie, Detective Pikachu.
Right. But you look at the Pikachu movie, the trailer, because I haven't seen it. I know it came out this weekend. I haven't seen it, but they stayed true to the designs.
Yes, they just took them and made them look a little more real.
There's slight tweaks you can do, but you have to stay true to the design.
Yes.
Yeah. And that's what they didn't do with the Sonic movie, but I hope they could pull it off. All right. I have no idea what they're using for animation. I'm assuming it's something like Maya, which, you know, God bless them if they can pull this off before November, because they still have to render it all. Yep. And the way things are, rendering still takes a lot of time. Mm-hmm. So
yeah. So good luck to good luck to
I mean
to them.
Like I said,
that.
Yeah, Sega, everyone's kind of having a hard time right now, and you know, look, I mean, sometimes you have to go back and start and do things that you know you do well. More Sonic games, you know, or Yakuza games, sure. All right, and then once you get the mojo back, start looking at new IPs.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. But speaking of hard times or lack thereof, let's talk about Sony and doing some censoring.
Yeah, what crazy world we're living in right now.
Yeah. So the long and short of it is we've got Sony going through and censoring or potentially outright banning certain IPs on their platform that depict like partial nudity or adult-oriented titles.
Yeah. Now, for the most part, a lot of these, because I see the list here. A lot of these are just hentai games. All right. Mm-hmm. And that's
I guess on console I can't necessarily falter.
Yeah, that's a niche of a genre, and we all know what it's meant for. So we're not gonna pretend that this is this is seriously. But the fact is, you got games like Devil May Cry 5 is being censored in Europe. You got one of the Neptunia games is being censored. You got the SNK 40th anniversary collection, the box art has been censored because the one girl is in bikini and they changed it so she's not in the bikini. And what's really weird is, like, you and I growing up with Nintendo always were used to Nintendo censoring everything from alcohol to religious symbols. Even onks were sometimes removed from Nintendo games. And it was Sony, the PS1 that came out, all of a sudden the gates were let loose and you have all kinds of, games were being released. And now if you want to get your jollies, you go get a Switch.
Yeah, because Nintendo's okay with it. Nintendo's allowing pretty much everything on their platform.
Right. It's really weird how that happened.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's an absolute weird. My personal feeling is you let the market decide. Mm-hmm. If these publishers want to release these games and sell them in the United States, I mean, if you want to buy them, buy them. If you don't buy them, they watch the numbers, they know, and I guarantee you, most of these are just going to be digital downloads anyway. Oh
yeah, I highly doubt there's going to be physical releases, hard copies for these.
Yeah, I don't expect to go to Walmart and find Super Seducer on the shelf, or anything like that. So Conception Plus, there's a title.
That's
okay, but here's but this point. I mean, a lot of that stuff you could just you put it in the PS4 store, the PlayStation store, and you download it. Done. All right. I don't know. Like I said, I'm kind of an open free market guy. So it's just their platform, but they're just going to go elsewhere. And they're going to Nintendo. Yeah. They're not going to Xbox because Xbox is not a thing in Japan, so they're not programming for Xbox. Xbox is a completely North American thing, European thing. It tries to get into Japan, but it just it's
not as popular as their homebrews.
So so like I said, you want the new uncensored Neptunia game? You got to get a Switch. You have a Switch, Ron?
Of course I have a Switch.
Okay. I wasn't sure because, not sure if you do have a Switch or not.
No, I have a Switch. Okay. I converted a long time ago.
Okay. Yeah. It's been a few episodes. It's been a while since we had an episode, so I wasn't sure if he still has a Switch or not.
Oh, of course. Of course. Actually, I was playing around on it a little bit ago. I was playing Undertale.
Oh, okay.
Because, I missed that train when that came out.
But speaking of a train bout coming, we have a trailer came out for a certain Square Enix game. Wasn't really popular, but it has its cult following.
You might have heard of it. Yeah, a couple people might have played it back in the day.
Yeah, I don't know. I have no idea who would have played it, but it's a remake for Final Fantasy VII, and I think Ron abused the rewind button on the YouTubes.
Oh yeah.
But it's been confirmed that it will be in an episodic format. So,
which I'm slightly afraid. Where do I start on this one?
Well, full disclosure on my end, I never really played Final Fantasy VII. And it never really appealed to me. So
how are we friends?
Magic the Gathering, man.
I guess, yeah.
Yeah. Well, we both like Final Fantasy VI. So.
Well, no, that one's really, really good.
Yeah. For me, it was just the PS1 aesthetics, the 3D stuff. It just didn't get to me at the time. But
I guess I can give it.
But that being said, I want to try to jump into this too. But I'm wondering how they're going to split these episodes.
Yeah. So I guess so. I've read a couple of different things about this, and I guess one of the big things is they're splitting it up in episodes, but they claim that each episode is a full-fledged game, which is questionable because are we talking like six? Yeah, how do you define that? Are you talking like 16 hours of play for full value, or are you telling me it's going to be like a 40-hour game or a 60-hour game? Like, what exactly do you consider this? Because basically at this point in day and age, every company has their own damn version of a full-fledged game.
And how many episodes are we looking at? I mean, is this
exactly? Are you charging me $60 for 12 episodes of this game?
That's racking in the money. I was thinking more $20 or $30 an episode.
I'm automatically assuming they're going full retail value,
maybe for the
$60
first one, and then like if you have the first one, then every one after that is going to be like $20 as like a DLC thing.
I would like to think there'd be some kind of deal like that, but I highly doubt that. Right. I honestly expect it to be $60 per episode, and I think there's probably going to be. So if they do the first episode and that is just in Midgar, I honestly think there's probably going to be a half a dozen episodes.
How much of
could be wrong?
How much of Final Fantasy VII was like more of an open world? Like, could you go back in the original game? Could you go back to like the Midgard midway through the game, or are you always pushed forward?
You were always pushed forward.
Okay.
You couldn't really go back there until like. Basically right towards the end of the game.
Right, so if you want to go, you go back to, you just wait for episode 23 when they release that 20 years from now.
Pretty much. Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
So like first, I mean, this looks absolutely beautiful. I like how they've done they've touched up the character designs. The combat system, they basically took Final Fantasy 15.
Yeah.
15's combat system, which I I actually didn't mind.
Okay.
Though granted, I wouldn't lie, part of me was kind of really hoping for that turn-based combat.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of pushback for that. They want that whole
a lot of that's just
the timing bar that fills up back in the day.
A lot of that, I think, is just people being a little stubborn and wanting that complete nostalgic feeling.
Right.
Like, would I love it? Yes. If you gave me the option of being able to use it, you bet your ass I'd use it. But I'm like, if it's not in it, I'm not going to freak out. I know there are some people freaking out about like the active time battle, or I'm sorry, the combat system, how it is now. And apparently Barrett,
oh, yeah.
Because Kotaku is a good source.
Never a good source.
I
do we even want to give them airtime?
Biased opinion.
You know?
Well, I mean,
they're complaining about something, anything.
There's, unfortunately, at this day and age, there's always somebody complaining about something.
Usually on Twitter.
I saw a 2-minute trailer for a game that has, the last time they've shown me any footage was 4 years ago.
Right.
Like, I want to see more, but until I do, I'm not going to freak out about something because I don't know what it's going to be like.
Right.
There are unfortunately people who are freaking out because how Barrett sounds. That's a topic I'm just not going to touch. No. But there's articles on it. You can read it. If you agree with it, so be it. I just think it's a little ridiculous to freak out about something that's not even out yet. Right. That they haven't really shown a trailer for, and you have no goddamn idea on how it is. That's my 2 cents before I get a little like farther.
Tell us how you really feel, Ron.
But nonetheless, I mean, this is a game that I'm incredibly excited for. Yeah. I'm going to play the hell out of it. Mm-hmm. My concerns is that if this is a full $60 value game, you know, you're charging me full retail price and you're splitting it up in episodes, quote unquote. Mm-hmm. I want my darn money's worth. Right. All right. You know, I want to really be able to like sink my teeth into it. If you're going to basically charge me, what was that game? The Order that, you know, like in the launch of the PlayStation, the Order 1882.
Yeah, something like that.
Like, something like that. I think I might have screwed up. But anyway, that game.
That was a paid for tech demo.
It was a paid for, but it was a full retail price tech demo. Right. You know, like, and I played it. I had a friend who bought it. I borrowed it from him, beat it in like 6 hours, and I was just like,
$10 an hour.
Wow, I'm glad I didn't, you know, I didn't pay for this. Right. Like, that's,
you can flip a note around in that game. Ooh.
Yeah, pretty much. Oh yeah, flip a note. Ooh.
Someone did it too.
Yeah, right.
And that was a lot cheaper.
So if you're going to charge me full retail value on this, I'm really hoping that I'm going to get some sustenance with it.
Right.
If they're going to charge like $40 per episode, I highly doubt that. But if they're going to, I guess I can be a little forgiving within reason. Mm-hmm. And also, I guess the next on the piggybacking off of that, if you're going to release it in episodes, please, for the love of God, tell me I'm not going to be waiting another 4 years for episode 2.
Right. You got to be like, Square has to be timely about these because, you know, there'll reach a point where people are just going to not care anymore, and then you're going to be, you run the risk of not having the income and you don't finish the game at all.
Yeah. Like, I know the director that they have on it, I forget the gentleman's name. Like, he does good work. I'm not going to complain about it, but like, he's known for taking his time and being incredibly slow with releasing something. And like, you've basically kept people like waiting for 4+ years, right? You know, since you first announced it.
So we're not asking Square to be Konami and who poked and prodded Kojima to death to get something out fast, but we're hoping that they can just leave sticky notes on his door. Say, hey, you know, are you done yet? Are you done yet? Are you done yet? You know, little friendly reminders.
I'm just hoping, like,
if they could push one out if they could get to the point where they could push one out every 3, you know, one a season, you know.
I would kind of be okay with that, I guess.
Because I'm assuming these episodes, thinking about it, these episodes are probably going to be 2 to 3 hours long. If you push through it, if you're not going to go and dilly-dally and go ooh and ah.
Oh, dude, if they release an episode for, again, I'm just basing this all off of full retail value, and it's 3 hours long, like just not doing side quest stuff, like main story 3 hours long, I'm going to lose my shit.
Right.
Like that's completely uncalled for. And that's not even just this particular game. In my opinion, that's any game that does that. But
of course, when it becomes episodic, how do you speed run it?
Well, that too, but also here's a really good question.
Right.
If it becomes episodic, do you sell physical versions? Are you telling me that every so many months or every, let's just say twice a year, I'm going to, I'm going to have to, not have to, because I mean, I would, but like, I'm going to go to the store and buy, Final Fantasy VII Remake Episode 2. Mm-hmm. I'm outside of Midgar. There's, I'm not particularly keen on them doing the episode or episodic adventure. Just because one, like I personally really, 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 really want a physical version of this game.
Right.
And
I could see them at least for the first episode, a physical retail copy.
Honestly, I don't, strictly my opinion here. I'll pretending they do this the same way they've done like Life is Strange. Mm-hmm. Like Life is Strange or anything like that. Or how Telltale was doing the Walking Dead series or any of them. Like it's going to be digital only at first. And then once it's done, God knows when, then a physical version will come out. Which when the physical version would have, and that's the thing is just there's so many questions about this and they're just not giving any damn information. No. Like, outside of just like how the game's going to work, combat, all that fun stuff. Like, okay, you're selling me in episodes. How much is it going to cost? How many episodes am I looking at? Mm-hmm. Am I going to have a physical? Is it going to be digital only and then a physical version later on? Did this $60 game now just cost me $180 because I want to buy, more than, I have to buy it in increments.
Are the episodes going to have DLC on them?
Or are the episodes going to have microtransactions? Right. Am I going to, do I have the quote option to, pay to have an XP boost for my party or some stupid thing like that, which I really hope that's not the case. Is the
Tifa bikini outfit I buy in the first episode be able to be carried on to the second episode?
Sure. Yeah, that's another question. There's a lot about this that I want to know that unfortunately everybody has to wait until next month to maybe find out what we want to know. I'm really hoping they're going to give us some actual info on this and maybe for the love of God a release date. Like I want to play this before I die. But there's just a lot I want to know about this. No one knows anything. They're not saying anything. Hell, they might not even know yet.
Release time soon. Trademark Valve time.
Yeah, there you go. There's this is a highly anticipated, beloved title. I'm just hoping they don't screw it up, I guess is the TLDR version of all of this. Since I've spent probably too long talking about this.
Just raise a glass and knock on wood. That's all we could do right now.
Yeah, right? Mm-hmm. So knocking on wood, actually, that's a pretty good segue here. If we're going to knock on wood, I guess, you might as well say the people over at Starbreeze are going to be knocking on a lot of wood to hope that they don't shut down within a year's time. Like it's everyone's basically thinking what's going to happen. So just in case if you're not caught up to date here, Starbreeze Studios, whose probably most well-known hit would be the Payday series.
It's a really only hit right now.
Oh yeah, pretty much because they were going to do well. Hold on, getting ahead of myself here. Let's read this how I wrote this in the notes here. No money, no problems, and also The Walking Dead was crap. So basically Starbreeze Studios, they've done the Payday series, which was pretty fun, especially if you're playing with a bunch of friends. Good game.
But how many people still play that?
I mean, every now and then I fire it up, but
how many? How many people who play that still buy the microtransactions to keep Starbreeze afloat?
That's beat me to it.
Yeah,
but so they were going to actually no. And another big problem is that everybody knows that The Walking Dead. It got super popular because the TV show, because apparently no one knew it existed prior to that.
Right.
And Starbreeze Studios was, they were going to make a game. They were going to make a first person. I don't want to call it a shooter, but survival horror.
It have to be survival horror.
Based in the Walking Dead universe, which could potentially been really cool and really interesting had they.
About 5 years ago.
Well, I mean, depending on who you talk to, because those people who be like, "Oh, another zombie game," but I mean, I like zombie games.
After DayZ and stuff like that, it's kind of been drawn out, I think.
I mean, you shush. All right, I love zombie games.
I know,
but I think I am the minority here, though. But nonetheless, like they were, you know, hey, we're gonna make this Walking Dead game. The trailers for it looked awesome, in my opinion. You know, the cinematic trailers, I liked the way it looked. And then it came out on PC. It was supposed to launch on everything, and then it came out on PC, and I think like 6 people bought it, and they were all like, "Oh no, this is trash! Like nothing works here, and like it doesn't play well, and oh my god, why?" Like, yeah, I'm making it nice.
Yeah,
here, it was bad.
Bad.
It was really bad, like so bad that like the basically the license to make the game was taken away, and I forget who the publisher was, but basically the publisher took the license back and was like, "Hey, we're sorry. This is bad. This isn't what we wanted. This isn't what we paid for." Like, wow. It's kind of funny if you look into it a little bit or just listen to other, you know, there's people who've gotten into significantly better detail than what I have, but that's just the long and short of it here is, you know, that kind of happened. And since then, they have not been doing so well. That's kind of really was one of the main kicks in the butt for them. You know, that, and also, I mean, they had one of their what was it? One of their CEOs, I think, or something like that. Someone higher in the company gets. Last I knew, they were charged or investigated for embezzling, but that's a whole nother topic for a different day. But yeah, they just haven't been doing well since. Well, I don't honestly since before The Walking Dead came out, but that was just kind of like nail in the coffin is the phrase I should have used. So they're not doing so hot.
Let's see. The Walking Dead was. No, the Starbreeze was the publisher.
They were the publisher?
Yeah, Overkill Software was the developer.
Ah, there we go. All right, well, then I got the screen.
Yeah, I'm looking at the scores, and
it's awful.
GameSpot 3 out of 10. IGN was generous, 5.3 out of 10. That's generous.
So that merely means it's like a 2 out of 10.
Yeah, Metacritic is 51 out of 100, and it was going to be episodic, and they got a season 1 out.
Yeah, that's it.
That's it. Yeah.
That's it.
First-person shooter with cooperative gameplay. So it was going to be a multiplayer. And, set it around Washington, D.C. Yeah, no. I don't think it was where it was released in 2018. Had no idea this thing came out.
Oh, yeah, no. Wow. It was bad.
Let's see. From the game has not been canceled for consoles, just postponed.
Yeah.
There's
no mention of whenever it's
Entertainment terminated their contract with Starbreeze Studio, leading to the discontinuation. It's been completely discontinued. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So they got their Skybound Entertainment, which I believe is the one that I guess owns the license to Walking Dead.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Skybound was the one that released. That was released. So I'm sorry, I got everything confused there. But Skybound was the one that released the statement that was basically saying
a complete tangent. I saw this Skybound Entertainment basically spun out from Lucasfilm Animation.
Oh, interesting.
So, George, you struck again.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
But Skybound was the one though that released this for essentially what it was. It was an apology to the fans and players.
Right.
Because it was bad.
Well, go back to what I said about Sega with the Sonic movie. When you have a franchise like that, you have to respect the canon. All right. I mean,
to be fair, like The Walking Dead, you could have done your own thing.
Right, but there's certain things that the fans, because this is for the fans, the people who watch the show. All right. Not necessarily the comics, but the show, because that's what the base is going to be, the show watchers. They have certain expectation in terms of the aesthetics and the style that they want to still see. It may not have to be with, what's his name with the crossbow, but we need that, just the style. If you're going to make it the Walking Dead game and it's going to look like what's his name, the Italian director, his 9/11 Dead movies, it's not going to work because you got two different styles now. Or you put the Walking Dead label on zombies that are essentially like the ones from 28 Days Later that run like 100 miles an hour.
Okay,
you're screwing with the canon. Don't do that.
Yeah, don't mess with the canon.
Don't mess with canon. When you got a franchise, especially one that's well established and it to a point where it's actually owned by the fans, Star Wars, you don't screw around with it.
Yeah, I mean, you might want to get that cough checked out. But
I know, right? Star Trek Discovery. Bullshit. Oh, I'm sorry. Wow.
Sorry. I understand. It happens every now and then.
No.
But
well, here's some good news.
Yeah, what do you got for me?
So fun news. All right. Do you ever play Gradius 3 on the Super Nintendo?
Long time ago, buddy.
Right. One of the early. I think it was flying one of the day one releases for Super Nintendo.
I think so, yeah.
All right. Had a problem back then. Slowed down a lot.
Okay.
I don't know if you ever noticed that.
Little hard, little fuzzy there.
Yeah, but
Long time ago.
Slowed down a lot. And the reason for that is that it was pushed out way too quickly. And the cartridge didn't have the additional coprocessors, or the SA1, I think they call it chipset, that was necessary to give it an extra boost, because as wonderful the Super Nintendo was, its CPU was trash. Genesis actually had a better CPU clock speed. That being said, Nintendo had the ability to add additional chips to their games, so that you can have like coprocessors or like the FX chip for 3D games like Star Fox, which just blew Sega out of the water. Sorry, but Gradius 3 didn't have that, and so when there were too many sprites on the screen, the game really slowed down. Well, nearly 30 years later, a ROM hacker decided to fix that, and he reworked the code in the ROM so that it would talk to the SA1 chip in Super Nintendo emulators. Okay. And what happened was that he essentially fixed the game. The game runs buttery smooth. It only
Good guy hacker.
Yeah. It only took 28 years.
Only 28 years.
Only 28 years.
It was done.
It's a Brazilian ROM hacker, Vitor Viela. I know I'm butchering his name, and I apologize. Mea culpa. But he, it's for me, this tells you like the dedication to these older games and their preservation. I mean, you go back and you fix things. Or I don't know if you've been seeing these things, these randomization ROM hacks, where they take Super Metroid, and all the items that you find are randomized. So what you think the Morph Ball may actually be like the Screw Attack. Okay. Or the Variety Suit, for example. Or there's one that's really nifty. It takes the items from Link to the Past, Zelda Link to the Past, and Super Metroid, and it meshes the two games together.
That's weird.
So like when you go down, you go look for the Morph Ball, it could be a piece of heart. And where you're supposed to get, say, the Pegasus boots, you might get an energy tank or Screw Attack. Screw Attack. Oh, missed that show. But and you go between the two games. Yeah. So, I know like ROM hacking, ROMs in general, piracy and all that, but the randomization stuff, I think, is really nifty. And fixing old games like this, like Gradius 3, that's fantastic.
I think that's really cool.
That for me is a wonderful note to put on your resume. I fixed Gradius 3. Here's my code to show it. Congratulations, you're hired. Now make us crappy software.
Yeah, right.
But I thought that was pretty nifty, and it makes me think about any other games I remember playing as a kid that like, wow, I wish that needs to be fixed. Yeah, right. How far can we push this? But good guy hacker. I'm going to have to play that schmuck sometime soon now.
Yeah, right.
But
I think that's awesome, though. So good for you for fixing that, buddy.
So speaking of being a schmuck.
Okay.
Blizzard.
These segues, man.
Oh, I love them. Blizzard.
Yeah.
How far thee has fallen.
Oh, here we go.
Yep.
Lay it on me, brother.
Okay. Well, we're gonna have a BlizzCon this year because I know sometimes we don't, but we're gonna have a BlizzCon this year. But they're not selling tickets like they normally do, or like most places sell tickets.
Okay. How are they selling them?
They're selling it through an app on the phone.
Okay.
That's essentially spyware. This phone,
Okay.
this app wants so much access to your phone. The Axe Ticket app, it wants your contact information. It wants access to your camera, your microphone, your pictures, everything. And when you're at the con, you have to have it running on your phone run at all times, because Lord knows that if you turn off your phone, you're about to mass murder everybody, and Blizzard needs to know where you are at all times. Man, look, this is where my libertarian comes out, and I'm like, yeah, no, you're not getting any money out of me. And what's even worse is that the app allows you to resell your tickets.
Okay.
Which means Blizzard is allowing ticket scalpers.
Well, that's no good.
Right.
Considering every other year they've been
hammering that
adamant against that.
Hard.
Yeah.
They've banned permabanned WoW players who they got caught scalping tickets. Mm-hmm. It's no bueno. And I don't know about you, but if that's how they're going to run this, I'm going to steer clear. That's terrible. I don't want, I have enough privacy issues with a smartphone as it is. And you're going to have an app that wants access to my microphone. Why? Why do you need to know why do you need to see my pictures?
Yes.
Why do you need my contact information? I bought my ticket. Why do you still need to have my credit card information? Why can't I just use a Visa gift card instead, or a PayPal account?
Yeah.
Give me some, security on that end. No. I don't think Blizzard did their research in this app, to be honest.
And I wonder if it's too far for them to be like, oh, shoot, we got to get out of this.
I'm sure. I mean, if they signed their deal, they're probably stuck with a contract, and with any luck, this is the only year that's going to happen. I'm curious to see the turnout. I like to think that people will be smart enough, and that I'm not saying it's going to be empty seats, but I would like to think that Blizzard's going to look at their numbers like, oh crap, we lost a couple thousand people this time. Maybe we don't want to do that. Especially like if people are going to buy tickets through their app and then resell them and scalp them. Yeah. For twice the price. Ugh.
Yeah, because I think who was it? Bellular did a video on it where
he's got to stop. He needs a vacation, man.
He does need a vacation. But basically, for you to recuperate your losses, and if you were to resell it, you need to sell it for almost, I think it's 360 plus to actually make your money back. Because
that's a card payment
all the other
me.
fees. Yeah, all the other fees that occur with that, the app makes money all the. I can't talk. The app, which is what called Axe.
Yeah, AXS.
Oh, whatever it's called. They have all of their fees and percentages they get from you reselling your ticket. For you to actually make your money back on what you would spend on a BlizzCon ticket, you would have to sell it at $360 plus.
Well, it tells me I'm going to resell my tickets at $500 or $600.
Yeah, right.
Because I want to make a buck.
There's people that wear. Yeah. Which I know that there's people that are doing that.
Oh yeah, no, they're out
And
there.
there's plenty of people who are going to pay for it.
You can't stop that. Really,
Mm-hmm.
there's always going to be somebody doing it. All right. The only way to stop it is that you don't buy the ticket from a scalper. Period.
Yeah.
That's the only way it's going to stop because they eat the loss. All right, and they eat the loss too much. They're going to find something else. They're going to have a job. That's what that's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to get a job. So, and these segues, man, talking about scalping.
Yeah.
Bethesda, bad boy.
Yeah, they haven't been doing.
Yeah.
They haven't been in people's graces for a little while now.
The fall of 76.
And every other buggy title they released because God forbid they do R&D.
Yeah. They've been releasing games with the same engine since Morrowind.
Yeah, which is really bad.
Yeah. You're talking about a 15-year-old engine now that hasn't really had a code overall. It's just been like slapped on new features. Mm-hmm. I mean, when the difference between Arena and Daggerfall, they updated the code and made it better. It was still buggy, but they gave a crack at it. But no, so yeah, what happened was that a Netherlands branch of Bethesda basically took an old D&D adventure game and just, re-slapped Elder Scrolls words and language into the story. Mm-hmm. And whoopsie.
And what's funny is this because you can go online and you can look up. Mm-hmm. You can actually, you can still even download the Bethesda tabletop RPG.
Right. Oh, it's on the internet. It'll never get off.
Oh, yeah. But this particular story, and if you go and you just, because there's side-by-side comparisons of the two stories, and it's
one for one.
A blatant ripoff. Yeah, it's a one for one, and it's they didn't even try to do dude didn't even try to hide it.
As some, I think it was Beliar said that they just ran it through a thesaurus. I mean, you do that in fifth grade.
Oh yeah.
You do that in fifth grade stuff. No. Running, as a pro tip for you college kids out there, running an existing piece of work through a thesaurus is still going to get you in a lot of trouble. Mm-hmm. You really need to reword things in your own words, and that's what these people didn't do. And it's a shame because Elder Scrolls started as a D&D tabletop game. It was conjured up during the second edition advanced D&D rules. Mm-hmm. And the whole setting of Tamriel and everything was all played out based on D&D rules. And Arena and Daggerfall and Morrowind all used dice rolls in the combat system to determine stuff. It was a tabletop RPG on the computer, and it was treated as such. I would love to see a kind of like an official tabletop version for Elder Scrolls, because I think to me that'd be awesome. I mean, there are homebrews for like Pathfinder that gives you Elder Scrolls and all the stats and everything for a lot of the races and for a lot of the creatures, for example, where you can get yourself like a head start on developing an Elder Scrolls tabletop role playing. But I still like to see like an official piece of work.
Yeah.
But that being said, oh man, this is now. I don't know if the author for the adventure is going to do anything legally about it, because it was stolen. If they're going to pursue anything, or are they just, okay, you learned your mistake, you got rid of it, we'll call it even, right? Because Bethesda hasn't made any money on this. Just to be clear, they weren't selling this stuff. This just it was announced, and it was like a pre-release, and that's how they caught it.
Yeah,
and so I don't know.
I mean, I want to say good luck to them, but also part of me wants to say you get what you deserve.
Yeah.
Did you expect nobody to find out? Like, I mean, come on. But
yeah, this is the age of the internet. You will be found out. Yeah.
Yeah.
That 4chan hacker, he knows everything. I'm telling you, he's a wild one.
Yeah.
Always in that Grinch-like picture. He's coming after you.
Speaking of coming after you.
Oh.
So, this is the last story I've got for everyone.
Right.
You know, all 6 people who are listening.
Hi.
Hey, we love you. Thanks for joining us. So this isn't old news. This really shouldn't surprise anyone, but it should make everyone happy, I would think. It makes me very happy. Now, unfortunately, I don't know the gentleman's name. I didn't think of writing that down.
Right.
But we've got a U.S. senator who's working on a bill that that might ban selling loot boxes, at least to kids.
Yeah.
Which is, you know, good. I can take that.
Yeah.
The long and short of it here, from what I know, and Mike, by all means, jump in and correct me if you know more. But basically, yes, this senator is working on working up a bill that what is it called? I think it's like the.
There's always an acronym for these things.
There's a name for it. I don't remember, but basically, it's to stop selling like loot boxes. In games that are directed towards children. Okay. So for an example, let's use like Candy Crush, because that's a pretty that's probably one, or even like maybe Clash of Clans, like mobile games like that.
We'll make one up. Elmo's Adventure Island. We'll make one up. Clearly
Elmo's
a children's
Adventure
game.
Island. Exactly. You know. But it would basically prevent those kinds of like loot boxes, or even I guess I would even want to even use the words as pay to win mechanics in games like that are, you know, geared towards children. And then in games that children would have access to. So let's use like some Call of Duties, because, you know, there's kids who play those. They're
on Xbox.
They're on Xbox.
12-year-olds who think they're 25.
But it wouldn't prevent them, but there would be, for lack of a better words, like a deterrent in those particular titles to keep children from purchasing stuff like that.
Okay. Well, I'll let me chime in here.
Go for it.
Right
buddy.
now, we don't know anything what's in this bill. It's just a headline. And that always gets me worried, because you look at these bills that come out of the Congress, and right now I'm doing a blanket statement. So this is not a, you know, Dems versus GOP or vice versa statement here. This is a blanket statement I have when it comes to Congress and the bills that come out. You know, the worst thing you can ever hear from anybody says, "Don't worry, I'm here to save you. I'm from the government." That's the worst thing you can ever hear, because, you know, look, I need to know how this is worded, because if they word this a certain way, this could potentially also affect trading card games like Pokemon, which are definitely targeted for kids, because that's essentially like a loot box. You open a booster pack. You know, a $2, you know, you buy a $5 booster pack, and you're going to get in the end maybe 80 cents worth of cards, because you got a trash rare, for example. All right. Does this bill cover that? Does this bill also affect other things? Because they love to throw all kinds of amendments and stuff that have nothing to do with the intended thing. What else is going to be thrown into this thing? And then it comes down, okay, you made a law, but how do you enforce it? All right. I've always been I like to believe that, I think back to this, there was a great philosopher and St. Thomas Aquinas who said it best. Laws should always be as narrowly focused and as locally enforced as possible. You know, in other words, don't make bills or make laws that are sweeping and cover vast areas of land, you know, i.e. federal. All right. You keep it local and keep it statewide. You know, that way, if you don't like it, you can always vote with your feet and move elsewhere. That's kind of the intended way we function here in the United States. You got 50 little fiefdoms, pick the one you like. That being said, with all loot box stuff, I mean, you look at EA, and EA is the big one, but and you look at Bethesda with Fallout 76, they're not making the revenue that they thought they were going to get from all these loot boxes. It started a little bit with the first Battlefront, but then it blew up with the second Battlefront and then Battlefield 5, and you had Square had their problem with Deus Ex, the recent Deus Ex, with their microtransaction shop and all that. So, I mean, in my opinion, it looks like the market's speaking for it, and they realize that they have to change their model. They can't go down this route anymore. So for me, it's all self-correcting in the end anyway. It may not be as fast as people would like, and they're jumping up and down on Twitter saying, fix it, fix it, fix it. On the other hand, there are people who are buying the microtransactions, who are doing the pay to win, especially on a lot of free MMOs. All right. And they're happy to do it. But, so personally, I think I think personally a bill like this is rather unnecessary. I mean, you already have like on your Apple iPhone, there's protections to prevent unnecessary microtransaction sales on a credit card, right? There are settings and stuff like that. I think on Android it does the same. You could do the same thing. Google Play will protect. If you want to if you buy something, you have to put a PIN in the phone, and as long as the kid doesn't know the PIN, they can't make a transaction, right? Something like that. So, I don't know. I don't want to get into a diatribe. I'm going, But my thing is, like, I don't think this is really necessary. And if he does pass, I bet you dollars of donuts, it's just going to be forgotten. It's either going to be forgotten or it's going to have really unnecessary unintended consequences. My fear is you go to a trading card store and you have to show ID so you can buy a pack of Magic cards.
Last I knew, from what I heard, it was only really directed right now towards
yeah, but we're talking, on the headlines that works, but we're talking legal documents that use really wordy, lawyery language, because everything has to be parsed. And if they don't word it right, you could potentially force a local card store to show the demand ID when I want to buy that Liliana Planeswalker card that's $30 now. Damn it!
Well, I mean, if you're buying a single card, then that shouldn't matter. Right? If you're wanting to buy a pack, you're already of age. So what does it matter?
Pack.
Okay, I mean, but still, my argument would be the same. Like at that point, like you're of age. What does it matter if this is going to actually keep it so that like children or maybe even people with like some addictive personalities or even gambling issues.
Well, there's help for that. And really that to me, that's that person's own problem. I personally should not be responsible for another person's behavior. All right. I know I know we're about to get into the deep end here and go way off the gaming show here when we get into this.
Oh, of course.
So, we'll leave it like right there at I would rather just not see the bill at all. I think the market's working it out. EA is getting hit hard because they're the big guys when it comes to this stuff. They're getting hit hard on this. It's made very clear on the phones. It seems to be acceptable. But when you push it on, I say seems because you look at Bethesda's Elder Scrolls Blade game and it's absolute trash.
Oh, God.
That's garbage. But look, no one's buying into it. They're losing money on it. The market's telling them no. So you don't need a bill to tell Bethesda you don't do this. I believe in the market, and I think the market is self-correct. And EA's already having problems. They're going to have to do something different. I'm hopeful that Jedi Fallen Order would be their mea culpa and possibly get everybody back in the group. They have to at this point with Anthem falling apart, right before their eyes. They have to do something quick. And I know I'm picking on EA, but this goes for all developers and publishers. All right, they have to stop this. But I
100%
they have
agree
to
with
stop
you.
it. But the market is telling them to stop it. There are people who buy that stuff. They there's the whales that keep free MMOs afloat. Mm-hmm. They drop $50 a month for all the cash shop stuff. You could do that. God bless you. You got it. Fine. Just remember, it's those people that keep those games free for those who don't buy the microtransactions. Just keeping that in mind. But the grief that EA has gotten over like Battlefront 2, they know now. And I think, in my personal opinion, this was a experiment that needed to happen, because before the model is that we charge you a $60 game, and then we're going to charge you. Now it was getting up to $100 in season passes for additional content. The market people didn't want that. They listened. Now the EA did listen to that, because that was the problem for the first Battlefront game, right? They released was that awful season pass price. All right.
Sure.
Right?
Sure.
So they said, we won't do that. We'll make all the DLC free. Okay, but how do you pay for that DLC? We have to pay it somewhere else. They chose microtransactions, and that bit them in the ass. So they still didn't get it. Nobody was happy with that either.
Well, no, because their quote answer for it all was just even a more
right.
I don't want to word
at least
this,
we
even
tried.
greedier way.
But I'm saying, at least they tried. We clearly now see we have evidence this doesn't work. Nobody wants this stuff.
You're nicer about it than I am, bud.
Well, I take a step back. I look at the perspective. I keep a perspective on all this. But what I'm
still,
I know.
Okay, it's fine. It's fine.
I think, for me, I think the big answer is that it's no longer $60 for full retail price. It has to be $80 for a standard retail price, on the condition that a lot of this other stuff stops, like the microtransactions and these $100 season passes.
Like, my personal opinion here, one thing I'll chime in on this about this potential bill that might show through. I'm all for it. If it's gonna stop things like that, I'm all for it. But I also know that it's never going to happen, and it's never going to see the light of day, because unfortunately, to get political for only a minute, but then go immediately off the topic, the government doesn't give a rat's ass about whatever I think, you think, or anything. They're all about just basically the United States has basically come like, let's care about the corporations rather than the people. So, whoever has the most amount of money is going to make this bill go through, and it's just not going to happen. Like, these companies make too much money off of the microtransactions, the paid DLCs, the battle passes, the loot boxes, the other ridiculous BS that you find in games nowadays. Horse armor. God damn horse armor.
Thank you, Bethesda. You started all
thanks,
this.
Bethesda. You douches.
Yeah. I was very happy. Like, you paid $50, $60 on the retail game, and then 6 months later, there's a $20, $30 expansion pack, or 2 or 3 of them. I was happy with that model.
Sure.
I like that model. I think that works.
I would be okay. Personally speaking, I would be okay with it if they're going to use the old excuse like, it costs too much to make these games. We need to make money back these other ways. If they're going to use that excuse, you know what?
Yeah.
There's plenty of people who are significantly more skilled than I am that have debunked that and have argued that, but I'm not going to get into that. Right. If that's their excuse, okay, you want to charge $80. If you're actually going to give me a full value for my $80, I'll deal with it. I won't buy that mad. Like, I might buy like one game every few months, because I'm sorry, but the way they pump out, not they, but some things get pumped out. Like, just gaming in general is a freaking expensive hobby to do.
That's why I've gone back to appreciate the games I've already have and go back and start playing them again.
Yeah, exactly. And I hear you. Like, pumping out $60 sometimes. Like, what was it? Just this past month, there was like 4 games that came out in the month, and they were all $60 a pop. And
but how many of them were just sequels of games that have already been out before?
True. Yeah. But like, hold on a second, because I tripped over my words there, and it sounded really weird. Out of all of the ones that came out, there was 2 2 brand new IPs, but one was $40 and was actually an amazing buy for $40. I'm going to plug in the World War Z if anyone's not played it by now. You should, because it's actually really good for $40. It's a zombie game, but it's actually like it's the closest thing you're going to get to Left 4 Dead until or when Turtle Rock makes the next Left 4 Dead clone. But anyway, gaming in itself has just become an extremely expensive hobby to do, and then all of this other BS on top of it. I could deal with $80 being the new price if it got rid of all this stuff.
Let's say that in a better timeline, PT actually got finished. And the quality that you had in that demo is the quality you're going to get in the final game.
Sure.
And there's no DLC. This is the game.
Okay.
It's $80, $79.95. Would you buy it?
Sure. Yeah.
Right.
Sure. But then my next argument on that would be is that, Cliffy B, when he went on I remember him going on a rant about how much games cost and whatnot. And then somebody chimed in, and I think this again was over a Twitter war where somebody was like, the games that come out don't need to look this particular way. Like, let's use PT photorealism.
Right.
It doesn't need to look like that. You're choosing to make your game like that, and then I'm having to recuperate, or I'm sorry, I'm having to pay for you choosing to do that. Right. I guess what I'm trying to get at is like, I could deal with the $79.99 price. But then I know you would have people argue like, well, why are you charging me $70? Because you don't need to make it look like that.
Right.
You don't have to dump all of these millions of dollars.
PT work if you made it like a like Shovel Knight 16-bit pixel art 2D.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I would just be happy if I could get an actual finished version of PT.
Let's put it this way. Something like PT where you actually do photorealism, you have have to have actors to do the rotoscoping, or not rotoscoping, but for the rigging for the animations. So you're paying for actors. And of course, then you have to pay for the room, to pay for the time. A lot of people, the gardener who has to keep the grounds around EA has to be paid too.
Of course.
So they all got to pay. So big company like EA, they have a lot of overhead. They have to pay for a lot of things. So they're going to make a very high budget game, AAA game. They're going to want, we'll still use that $80. Whereas somebody who works out of his own home, like the guy who did Stardew Valley, it was a passion project. He charges $20, $30 for his game, and it's a pixel art. That makes sense for him because he's one guy and it's a pixel art game that is very retro. He didn't have to invest in animation. He didn't have in 3D animation. He didn't invest in the software for it, the licenses for that stuff. He didn't have to license an Unreal 4 engine or anything like that. He didn't have to do all that stuff. He just made his own little pixel art game, probably off of Unity. All right, $30 works for that. $20 works for that. All right, but if I'm going to make
my argument here with that be. My argument on that, and I don't mean to interrupt you on that.
Go ahead.
Ninja Theory. Ninja Theory. They can pump out. It looks really, really good. I'll admit I haven't played it myself. It's been on my radar too, but I haven't actually just gotten around to it. What was that? That Hellblade Senua's Sacrifice.
I don't know.
It's a gorgeous, super realistic looking game. It is what they call AAA independent AAA title, and they're selling it for like $30.
Yeah. But then, like I said, are they a big, huge corporate thing like EA? Probably not.
I mean, they're
probably a good company, good sized company.
It could be a good sized company that's been around for a while. Yeah. So I mean, I get what you're saying. And
there's, like I said, there's overhead. How much are these people, Ninja Theory, how much are these people being paid as opposed to the people working at EA? I'm not, like I said, I'm trying to be devil's advocate here. I'm not defending EA.
No, I get
but
you.
I'm just defending as, you're comparing one business to another. It's like comparing Microsoft to, let me think of a software company like Sunsoft or something. Not Sunsoft or Oracle. Oracle's a big company, but they're not the size of Microsoft. So they're probably their revenue stream's lower. They're not getting paid as much, and they have probably not much to do. I'm just saying. I'm just trying to give a little context and perspective. That's my favorite word, by the way.
I get you.
It's the word I've learned since I've had the job I had for the past 4 years. You put everything in perspective, and everything becomes clearer. But like bottom line for me, like I said, I'm not crazy about a new bill. I'm not crazy about new laws for anything. Just because you have a crisis or supposed crisis doesn't mean you always have to throw a bill at the face. That being said, if they got to make sure they word this right, because I'm more afraid of trading card games being considered loot boxes.
What else could this affect? Yeah, I get you.
And that's what I'm. And
I guess that's where we got.
Like I said, they're going to tack on all kinds of stuff. $2 million to research the sex lives of shrimp. Bull crap stuff that's always thrown in the bills. I hate that. Yeah. I hate that stuff. Pork spending.
Yeah. But so I guess we got to wait and see what happens with that,
And folks, just so you know, this is as political as this show's ever going to get. Hopefully.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Unless you get me started on Randy Pritchard taking $12 million bonus from Bobby Kotick.
Yeah.
Those lovely people. I'm sorry. I'm going to stop now. But
private business, they do what they want, right?
Yeah. Something like that. Right. I don't have to like it, but
public businesses do that and no one complains. Colleges.
Yeah, there's that thing with your voice again, bud. I think, are you getting sick?
Yeah, I might have a stomach flu again, I think.
Yeah, something like that. Okay, well, you make sure to get checked out.
Yeah.
But that's last really long-winded conversation is all that we have for you guys. I want to say thank you for being with us on this. This adventure, this talk, if you will, and little rant there at the end. Yeah,
we apologize for still being behind. And then this
inconsistent.
Yeah. I do plan maybe when we have these rather hiatuses, I have been starting a Let's Play of Morrowind using the OpenMW engine. And although just did a couple episodes and I didn't really do anything, what I think I'll do in the future is start doing it, or maybe in between episodes of here, do little news snippets while I'm wandering around and knocking rats and Nick's hounds in the head with a hammer.
There you go. So yeah, always keep in mind that we're always posting something up on the YouTube channel. So
on those
go check that out. Yep. Yeah. On those YouTubes.
Yeah. Well, we still can before the EU says that we can't either or something like that, even though we're in the United States.
Yeah, something like that.
There's an example why you shouldn't have a bill.
There you go.
Okay.
But as always, questions, comments, concerns, you can always contact us at beardedgamemasters@gmail.com. Go to our YouTube channel, Bearded Game Masters. Or, hey, subscribe, comment, share, all that fun stuff that goes along with any... Oh, SoundCloud?
Yeah.
That's the Game Masters on everything.
That's the main channel.
Yeah, the main one.
Audio goes there first. It gives me...
Then it makes its way to iTunes and all the other fun places.
And I got to give me some time to work it up on YouTube because I have to do some gameplay video because I can't sit there and do real editing like we were doing first because copyrights, we got striked once already.
Yep.
Thank you, Capcom, and your free Monster Hunter trailer. Had no idea that commentary over that is not considered fair use.
Yeah, right. So, but as always, thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.